Ashley, John, back with you on SportsCenter. Let's talk Game 5, Bucks-Hawks, and let's talk about points in the paint because the Bucks had been doing a lot of that, and you hate to see that. Giannis in street clothes, but that's okay because they have a couple guys named Drew Holiday and Brook Lopez making sure that paint stayed popping. Holiday driving down, laying it down with that alley-oop to Lopez. Thank you. The extension on that. Later in the quarter, Bucks up 18. Again, the slam. Giannis loving it. I mean, that'll work. Next possession, Holiday driving baseline. Lopez, yet another dunk. I mean, you would think Atlanta would figure it out by this point. They keep on doing it. Milwaukee outscored Atlanta 28-8 in that first quarter in the paint. Okay, here we go. Again, Giannis's replacement, Bobby Portis, having himself a half as well. Watch him, 14 points on 7 of 10 from the field, 3 rebounds, 2 steals. The Bucks were up 65-56 at half. Not to be outdone. This is Chris Middleton, part of that big three, and loses Kevin Huerter in the dust. Yeah, hurt that. Red Velvet. Is that what they're calling him? I'd like a nickname like that. I like it. But not tonight. Middleton just getting outstretched there with the baseline jumper. Bucks just pulling away. Here we go, Middleton. He's just putting this thing on blast. Middleton, top of the key with that three. Trae Young, and not so happy. Yeah, put that hood up. I do the same thing. The Bucks win to take a 3-2 lead.
Richard Jefferson is 3 years retired from the NBA. 12 years removed from his season in Milwaukee when he was the only Buck to start all 82 games. He's now shining on ESPN as an analyst. Hey, the Bucks had balanced scoring, and I don't want to say where were these guys before because they've all kind of had this game, but never all at one time. How is it they managed to put on literally a clinic about playing without a star?
Well, they have been doing an outstanding job. Now, don't get me wrong. In Game 4, Atlanta put on that clinic of how to play without a star. And this was the Bucks' turn. This was a great answer by the Milwaukee Bucks. But they played with force. Now, hear me out. They scored 30 more points in the paint than Atlanta did without one of the greatest paint players of all time in Giannis. They played with the force. Look at Brook Lopez. They played with an aggression. It was so beautiful to watch them say, we're going to come out here. We're going to play inside out. We're going to be dominant. There has been criticism of Brook Lopez playing away from the paint, but without Giannis there, he can play in the paint, and he was an all-star. 14 for 18, just a dominant performance, but to me, it was led by Chris Middleton. He was doing a little bit of everything, and Chris Middleton is an all-star. Chris Middleton is a great player, but he's got to improve his consistency. He can't have a 20-point fourth quarter, then go and have a 6 for 17 night, and then go and have a night like this where he's the best player on the floor. If you want to win a championship, you're going to have to be more consistent, but tonight, it was all about the Bucks and their entire group.
So we have uncertain stars again going into Game 6. If you're the Hawks and Trae Young, you're kind of desperate because you need him to play. But the Bucks may have bought themselves some time here with Giannis. How do you see that playing out?
Well, I think you want to buy yourself as much time as possible. I think where you get nervous is that the Milwaukee Bucks aren't very consistent. You don't want this to go to a Game 7 situation. You want to use all of your bullets to get to the NBA Finals because we saw that with the Brooklyn Nets, where all of a sudden, like James Harden was like, I'm going to try and give this, and I'm going to try and put it down because if you let teams have life, they can figure out ways to get healthy. And you don't want this Atlanta Hawks team that's already having confidence from winning Game 4 to get more life and to get more life. So I think you try and rest Giannis as long as possible because your goals are to win a championship, but you got to get there first before you can even start that talk.
All right, RJ, you can't see this, but Ashley's out here. She's wearing Elliot Perry socks. So before you jump, see what I did there?
Yeah.
I want a quick thought from you, Phoenix kid, on the Suns returning to the finals for the first time since you were a teenager and Charles Barkley just ruled the Valley.
Let's go.
Look, me and Ashley were joking. I still have a 602 number. That's how I ended up going to the University of Arizona. Me falling in love with basketball was that 93 Suns team. When you're talking about Dan Marley and Kevin Johnson, and you're talking about obviously Charles Barkley, they are such an iconic team in the Valley because it was like Charles is still an icon today. Imagine Imagine being an MVP in Phoenix in that moment. There was a full generation of West Coast kids, of Phoenix kids that just loved Charles Barkley and still do to this day. I don't think I would be here right now if it wasn't for that 93 Suns team really just dominating all conversation, and every kid just want to go to the park, and I was one of those kids.
That's fantastic, man. I can't wait. Enjoy those finals, and you ride them the whole way. Richard Jefferson, Moon Valley High School in the house.
Yes,
Thanks,
sir.
brother.
Yep, I'm Chaparral High School. Hey, and he matches me, John. How about that?
All you're missing is the hat.
It was perfect. I could use that with my outfit. Hey, the Eastern Conference Finals might not have their 2 stars tonight. That's okay because SportsCenter does.
Yes.
Right? John Anderson, Ashley Britt, what's up, everybody?
Yeah, Levy and Melrose will be here tomorrow. I love your son's jersey, by the way. It is the Hawks of the Bucks Game 5. It had a decidedly kind of midweek load management preseason game in Marinette feel to it. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Trae Young in street clothes. Bad left knee, bad right ankle. Series is tied at 2. We are actually in Milwaukee. Trae Young missed game 4, trying to get some work in, loosen up, had some pain, not going to go. We'll see what happens for game 6. Bucks go out quick. Remember, they were terrible starting in Atlanta the other night, have an 11-point lead, missed shot, scrappy, running the floor. Drew Holiday, Bobby Portis, he's all up in there with 2 hands. Minute later, here we go again. Holiday lobs one up. Look at Splash Mountain come down. Stay, you don't need to be out there for 3. You're big. Go inside. There he is again in the painted area. First half, Bucks 28 points in the paint. Hawks had 22. Total. Bucks up big after 1. They were up 9 at the half. Third quarter, Chris Middleton putting a hurt on Kevin Huerter. Minute later, it's a 9. Give me Lopez down low again. And the foul. And look at the soft touch. He knows those 5-serve forearm rims better than anybody. Bucks up by a dozen. Giannis, he's over. He's counting them. Counted up for 3. Bobby Portis. Post up Huerter. Pig Sooie, look at him come through with a bucket. Bucks led by 13 after 3. And then they're pushing it out in the 4th. 15-point lead. Give me Chris Middleton. Middleton had 26 in this game. There it is, soft from the top of the key, and Trae Young helpless again. At least last game when he was helpless, you could cheer. This one, not much for him. Middleton, Lopez, big man, but a soft baby hook. Got that one to go. He had 33. That's outrageous. Back down the floor. The block on Bogdanovich. Going in for the lay. You're not getting it by big old 1-1. 11's right there. Defensive stalwart. 8 minutes to go. Bucks up 14. I think a lot of this had to do with Sidney Moncrief was in the crowd. I don't know if he got the cutaway there. There's Holiday knocking that bad boy down. Holiday comes through. 13 assists in this one. 25 points. Bucks up 16, and they can kind of walk it home with 2 to play. Holiday splits the defender, and there's Lopez again. Just put it on the roof. I'll get your Frisbee. Bucks win at 123-114. Giannis, not sure we'll see him again for Game 6, but the Bucks, 48 minutes from going back to the NBA Finals. I'm not really sure you're going back. It's been 40 years.
Yeah.
Longer than that, 50 years since they've been back there. But nonetheless, Bucks, they were balanced in this game for sure. Thursday, 4 players better than 20 points, led by Lopez's 33. Combined, those 4 had 106. Bucks, they've kind of been balanced through the postseason. 4th team over the last 25 postseasons to have 4 20-point scorers multiple times during the playoff run. You're going to look to join the Heat, who actually made it to the finals during that season. Naturally, with his 33, Brook gets the Giannis interview spot.
All right, Stephen A. Smith joining us now. So no Giannis, no problem for the Bucks. How was Milwaukee able to win this pivotal Game 5 without their MVP in the game?
Well, the starting lineup showed up. I thought that Bobby Portis was incredible, filling in for Giannis Antetokounmpo, coming up, hitting 9 of 20 shots, hitting 22 points. But the story of the game was Brook Lopez. He was dominant from the start, hitting 14 of 18 shots overall, was being fed adroitly by Drew Holiday, who had 13 assists to go along with his 25 points. We came into the game anticipating that Middleton and Drew Holiday needed to play an exceptional game. Middleton played a good game with his 26 points, hitting 50% of his shots, but Drew Holiday was something special tonight because he was really assisting and getting his teammates involved and being a true point guard. But when you take into account the fact that Brook Lopez, an individual, I got to stand back and give credit where credit is due and just eat some crow here. I didn't think, particularly after watching Game 1, that he would be somebody that could be utilized in this series. series. I thought they would put him in pick and roll situations defensively. It would really compromise him. As a result, it would get Budenholzer to have to shift him to the bench, and he was going to be a non-factor this series. But he really stepped up big time in a big way tonight. 33 points on 14 of 18 shooting from the field. Just an absolutely spectacular performance on the part of Brook Lopez. Never saw that coming. He played big tonight in every way. He was finishing at the rim. He was a defensive force as well, and he obviously was putting up points for their starting five: 22, 25, 26, and 33 points. And of course, you're not expecting that from P.J. Tucker, who's a defensive ace, and that's what he did. Just got to give credit where credit is due here. Their starters stepped up, didn't get much production from the bench, didn't need it because Portis filled in admirably, and Brook Lopez played bigger than he's ever played in his career, as far as I'm concerned.
That next man up mentality. Okay, let's talk game 6. What is the key, besides, of course, Trae Young hopefully being in the game for the Hawks to try to keep this season alive?
Well, I think the first things first is you got to hope and pray that Trae Young's going to come back because he's a difference maker. His long-range sniper ability, his cat quickness, his ability to get into the lane, and more importantly, to draw fouls and to put your bigs in compromising situations defensively. That's something that we can't simply minimize. You're going to need Trae Young back. Hopefully, he'll be able to come back. But I think it's a good sign that we saw Bogdanovich drop 28 tonight. Remember, the first 3 games of this series, he was hobbled with that knee injury. But over the last couple of games, he's come on a bit strong and more assertively offensively since Trae Young's gone out of the game. You're getting more offensive production from Lou Williams as well. That's going to have to continue. They're going to have to get a collective effort, and I think John Collins is going to have to get considerably more involved offensively. You need to make sure he gets the ball, him and Gallinari, along with, obviously, Lou Williams and Bogdanovich in the event that Trae Young is not there. They'll feed off the home crowd. They'll be energized. I think a game like tonight ensures that Giannis won't play in Game 6 because if you're the Milwaukee Bucks, why jeopardize it if you don't have to? You want to give him as much rest as you possibly can so he'll be available come NBA Finals if they were to advance past this series. But I think with tonight's win, you ensure he won't be there. So if you're the Atlanta Hawks, you're not expecting to have to worry about him. And as a result, with or without Trae, you have the personnel capable of feeding off of that home crowd because they play better than ATL in some situations than they do on the road. And I think this is going to be one of those situations. And I can completely anticipate a Game 7 taking place because I think Atlanta could win Game 6 Saturday night.
All right. We saw Trae Young warming up pregame. Seemed like he was in pain, couldn't go. If there is any way possible he can go in the next game, he'll sure be there. By the way, I like that you called it ATL. I've been calling it Hotlanta. People in Atlanta don't like that. So I'm going to take that from you, Stephen A. Thanks so much.
ATL.
ATL.
That's what they go by. Thanks.